6142 shown by Kagan Bequet, and entry 6029 shown by Caitlin Duress. Our judge today for our Junior Heifer show is Dr. Chris Cassidy. He grew up on a diversified, family-owned, purebred Angus and grain farm in north central Illinois, and he was a member of both Blackhawk East and Texas A&M University's livestock judging teams. He went on to the University of Illinois, where he served as the livestock judging team coach while he completed his PhD in cow-calf ruminant nutrition. And Dr. Cassidy is now an instructor and the livestock judging team coach at Iowa State University. He has judged shows in over 35 states, including the Houston Livestock Show, Fort Worth Stock Show, National Western, and the North American International Livestock Exposition. He currently resides in Ankeny, Iowa, with his wife Katie and their sons Bo and Lincoln, and he is heavily involved in the promotion and exhibition of the family herd of C5 Angus. Dr. Cassidy advises that nobody is ever going to give you anything, so you've got to go and take it. He is super excited to be here judging today. Please help me welcome Dr. Cassidy to the 2018 Arizona National Livestock Show. That means you can clap for him.
of the junior cattle show. And unfortunate this young lady's heifer just isn't cooperating, but she's tough and she's hanging in there. So hats off to you. I think you'll have a little better luck next time, but keep working with that heifer because I think she's got a lot of good. I do think the top pair of heifers is actually fairly close, and they're a little different, so figure out what side of the fence you want to be on, and I wouldn't argue much with you. I like the heifer that wins at the ground. I think she's a little bigger footed. I like the angulation of her structure just a little better. And I think when you ask the cattle to go, she'll get out and reach and just keep herself together a little bit neater there in terms of her shoulder, her spine, the way she sets her hind leg down to the ground. Now she's a little bigger framed and maybe not quite as bold as this heifer in second. And like I said, you want to sort it on extra dimension. I think this heifer in second gets the nod there, but she's big hips, she's powerful, but read her down low, maybe not quite as stout in terms of her structure. Set the cattle in motion, she'll come apart there in her loin. It just isn't as secure in how she sets down her hind leg. Good pair of cattle there on top. Young lady's heifer in third's got a lot of good to her. That's an extended, really long body, really feminine featured kind of female. Again, her attitude's probably her biggest problem, but that's going to get better with time. Keep working with that heifer. Like her length, like her performance. She just doesn't have the same sort of rib shape or volume as the two in front of her. But again, a great way to start off our show. Congratulations on an outstanding class of Angus heifers.
First place in our first class of Angus junior breeding heifers went to Myron Dentaclaw with entry 5559. Second place went to Caitlin Duress with entry 6029. And third place went to Kagan Biquette with entry 6142. Coming into the ring next will be our second class of junior breeding heifers. We have Jackson Ray with entry 2763, Lindsay Ellis with entry 4933, Brandon Wheeler with entry 6446, Kenzie Biquette with entry 6148, Austin Visselmeyer with entry 6039, Styles Patrick with entry 2486. Go out on the ANLS.org app, so that way you can be reminded when your class is up next, and it will help you get to the ring quicker. for Class 2 of our junior heifers, we are looking for Katya Voloshin. Katya Voloshin, you need to be making your way ringside with your junior heifer calf, entry 5909. Katya Voloshin to the ring.
What a great class, and we get right into class number 2. This is deep, and this is really, really good. Now this class is 6 deep. There's not a bad one in here, and it's based solely on personal preference when the quality is this good. And can I give you a few seconds to tell you what kind of goes through my mind? I think the heifer at the top end are very, very good. And the one that wins for me, I just think this one just reads very maternal. And I love how this heifer's put together from a structural perspective. I think she's a little more correct in just how her shoulders set into her than the heifer that's in second. And then big picture, when you step off, that is a moderate frame, good body, maternally focused kind of female that's flexible. I think she balances nicely as well. She may not be as extreme in some areas as what we see in the heifers in even 2 and 3, but that's a fault-free, functional, soft body, really good kind of maternal Angus female to lead off this class. You want to start with this one in second, I wouldn't argue much with you. I think this one is very intriguing, and how she puts together that kind of natural stoutness and still that kind of a look to her from the side, I think is awfully impressive. And this young gal gets some stopped and put together. That heifer is very tempting in terms of just those genetic pieces that she puts together. Now, I start to break her down a little bit, and I don't think she's perfect, and I'm being ultra critical on a really, really good one. But I think we have to do that. This heifer just at the edge of her shoulder, and how it hooks up into her forerib and spine, I think maybe disconnects just a shot. She's a little edgy for me. I wouldn't want him any stouter or any just off the edge that she is, but that's a heifer that I think in terms of genetic pieces, she puts together some very unique things. Like to change the shape of her shoulder, and you get this heifer in motion. Not sure if she's just quite as long striding or just as accurate as she hits that ground, but that's a great heifer there. Again, awfully critical of one that I think has a lot of good to her. This one in third is no slouch too. You want to talk about brood cow potential. That is a deep-sided, soggy, easy doing one. step in behind her, she's got the right kind of power because she's wide, but yet still long and smooth in the way that it lays on her. Of those first three, just to be honest with you, she's just the plainest one. And it's not like she's a plain one by any stretch, but you know, when the quality's this good, those little collection of things can get her in third, because that one could go on and win a lot of shows, and I think she's going to be fun, not just in the ring, but out in production as well. I really like this heifer in fourth. This is a good-looking, really attractive one. She's one of the greener ones in here, and I appreciate that about her. But with that, I think she just runs out of power. You step right in behind her and read her upper rib shape. I think she's the flattest of those first four. And with that downfall, set her in motion. She'll set that tail head up just a little bit. I'd like to change that, but young man's got himself a nice project. A real stout, powerful heifer coming in 5. I love her bone work and I love her feature. Set her in motion, I think structure. She comes up just a little short there in her step, so we'd like to alter her off both ends of a framework to move up in class out with another long body, one that's pretty fresh in her condition, but she doesn't have the same sort of cow power as those ones that precede her. Great class. Awesome set of heifers there at the top.
First place in our second class of Angus breeding heifers went to Styles Patton with entry 2486. Second place went to Braden Wheeler with entry 6446. Third place went to Austin Visselmeyer with entry 6039. Fourth place went to Jackson Ray with entry 2763. Fifth place went to Lindsay Elliott with entry 4933. And sixth place went to Kenzie Paquette with entry 6148. We're going to pause here because we have our very own Cora McGibbon here to sing the national anthem. So we will just hold up on the show and let her sing.
If you all would please rise and take your hats off. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleam, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streamed, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Thank you.
Coming into the ring right now, we have the third class of our Angus Junior Heifer Show. We have entry 5909 from Katya Voloshin, entry 6028 from Alex Visselmeyer, entry 2766 from Jackson
Another really good class of February heifers here. I think one that leads off, it does so relatively easily in my mind. And you start them at the ground, and I like her extra foot size and substance, but yet one that's still very flexible and very useful in how she operates those lower joint work. Good bodied. I think she's in the right kind of condition. Just really nice problem-free heifer that's got some extras to win this class. I think it maybe gets a little tighter there, but the heifer in second, I think, probably most closely resembles our winner from just the standpoint of structure. You read this heifer at the ground, and just when they ask the cattle to lead, I think she's a little more accurate in terms of both ends of her framework. Her length of stride is good. She's moderate, deep, and soft as well. She just gets a little bit more fragile in terms of her construction as compared to our winner. Get out behind her, maybe isn't quite as square there in her pin set, but still like that heifer just from a fundamental cow power perspective. That's an easy doing one that I think will be real low input when she gets into production. Little extra performance coming in this next heifer, and I like this heifer stretch, and I like the volume, and I like the extra rib shape she does bring to the table. Get her out here and you ask her to go, and she can kind of get a little awkward just in the way she sets down to the ground. I'd like to just loosen that hind leg and hip up just a little bit. She'll tighten there in her pasture and come up just a little short there in her step, but again, a performance-oriented, good-bodied one that's got a lot to her, and I think is going to make an awesome cow for that young man. Right out of the class with a little more sensibly sized one. I don't question her structural quality. I think she's good enough there, but I think compared to the other ones, she just doesn't have the same kind of rib shape or volume or performance, but still a good heifer that has some function built into her. Nice class. Congratulations again.
In our third class of junior heifers, first place went to entry 5909, exhibited by Katya Voloshin. Second place went to entry 2766, exhibited by Ray Jackson. Third place went to entry 6028, exhibited by Alex Visselmeyer. And fourth place went to entry 6197, exhibited by Chance Green. Coming into the ring next will be our fourth class in our junior heifer show. We will have entry 4927, exhibited by Grace Elliott.
Basics. I think her joint work is good, moderate, has some body shape. We'll break her down here a little deeper as we get her back out for our champion Angus drive, but really nice female again. Congratulations.
First place in our fourth class for our junior heifer show went to entry 4927, exhibited by Grace Elliott. We'll ask Grace to stay ringside as we bring back in the first and seconds from our previous classes for our junior heifer calf champion drive. From class 1, we will have entry 5559, exhibited by Myron Denniclaw. And for our second from that class, we will have entry 6029, exhibited by Caitlin Duress. From our second class in first place, we had entry 2486. Exhibited by Katya Voloshin. And our second place in that class was entry 2766, exhibited by Jackson Ray.
a really, really good division here. And well, like I said, we'll keep this show kind of rolling on, but I think this is a great way to start off our heifer show with a division of cattle that I think represents a lot of quality, but still kind of brings forth some of the traits that, you know, as an Angus breeder myself, I kind of pride myself on with this breed. I think all of these heifers have the right kind of structural makeup, and that's why they sorted up in the classes. I'm pretty big on that in terms of trying to maximize our longevity, keeping them maternal and keeping them soft and functional, but yet bringing some extras, and I think all these cattle do that. And so, with that being said, I'm not going to break them down that much further. Young heifer up front does a nice job. She's just a little behind the 8-ball in terms of just maturity, but that'll come because she's built right. Then we get into a pair of heifers here next that, you know, this young man's heifer I think does a lot of neat things, and she's moderate and bold and soft in her body shape, but yet when you get her stopped and put together, I think she gives you a really nice silhouette in terms of top and bottom line, and the way that she's put together I think is very, very nice. Next heifer in line, really smooth. I like how she transitions all the way through and still sits down with a big hind leg, and it flexes and operates correctly. Just another good solid heifer there. Really a powerful heifer that wins our final class as a single entry. Rib shape's awesome. I really enjoy the extra dimension she packs and still stays fairly sound. Maybe like to change the shape of her shoulder just a little bit, but again, we can forgive her that when she's got that extra dimension to go with it. So kind of boils down to just a personal preference. These class winners are good, and I definitely think there's another second or two out there on that side that's in the hunt. So I'm going to select your champion, and then I'll take another look for reserve. But if you would, show these kids your congratulations and put your hands together. Give a nice round of applause.
Our champion Angus Junior Heifer Calf is entry 2486, exhibited by Styles Patton. We will have the second place from that class, entry 6446, exhibited by Braden Wheeler, come in to compete for reserve. Our reserve champion Junior Angus Heifer Calf is entry 6446, exhibited by Braden Wheeler. Coming into the ring next is our class of late senior heifer calves. We have entry 6204, exhibited by Garrett Green. We also need Austin Visselmeyer with entry 6037. You need to come to ringside. Austin Visselmeyer with entry 6037 to ringside. Your class is next to go in the ring.
You can. Yeah, because they're single entries and then do the drive, yeah.
We have Garrett Green with entry 6204. And from what would be our Class 5, we have entry 6037, exhibited by Austin Misselmeyer. As these are both single entries, we have brought them into the ring at the same time so that they can compete for our senior heifer calf champion.
We'll go ahead and wrap up this next division. We've got our two single entries, November and then a September heifer. There's obviously 2 months difference between the two, so there are some differences in maturity, but I do think that there probably is a pretty logical thing to do out here. And this heifer up front, I like her structure and I like how she's built, but there's another one in here that I think pretty well dominates her just in terms of brood cow mass and volume, and she too is plenty good enough in how she's put together as well. The young man with the heifer in their second position is going to be our champion. The one up front will be our reserve. Give both of these young men a nice hand. Congratulations.
Our senior heifer calf champion for our Angus division will be entry 6037, exhibited by Austin Misselmeyer. Our reserve will be entry 6204, exhibited by Gary Green. Coming into the ring next will be Class 7 early summer yearling heifers. We will have one entry from Grace Tekanzik with entry 6177. If you are ringside, we do ask that you please check in with our ringside attendant so that she may mark that you are here and we do not have to call you ringside.
Well, I mean, security might take it. They might. I mean, you never know. You have to start explaining whatever. Thank you.
Yeah, just another single entry in this division. A really nice May heifer, I think, in terms of just frame size relative to the extra body that she has. It's going to be real low input and really easy to manage when she gets into that next stage of her life. And functional enough. Young lady's done a great job with this heifer. It's too bad there's only one in this division, but this one, I think, for darn sure deserves to be a champion. So give this young lady a nice round of applause. Congratulations on your division champion in the intermediates.
First place in her class and our intermediate heifer calf champion went to entry 6177, exhibited by Grace Tekanzik. Coming into the ring next will be Class 8 April Junior Yearling Heifers with entry 2485, exhibited by Styles Patton, and entry 5762, exhibited by Miranda Rachel. Styles Patton with entry 2485. You are needed ringside. Your class is about to go in the ring. Styles Patton with entry 2485 to the ring.
I'm sorry, Larry, I didn't catch that last name.
We'd also like to issue a call for Class 9 to begin making their way to ringside. Entry 6203, Garrett Green. Entry 6195, Chance Green.
Better hurry up.
And entry 6175, Grace DeConsick. Make your way to ringside for Class 9. Your class is on deck.
Come on, last call. He needs to hurry up. Last call, he needs to hurry up. Hey, Lori. I'm gonna be here first.
Can we do the Wi-Fi thing now?
If you are in Class 9, please check in with the ringside attendant. If you are in Class 9, check in ringside. You need to make your way to ringside. Garrett Green.
Really another nice, good pair of junior yearling heifers here. I think both of these heifers are very different, and I do believe good ones come in different shapes and sizes, and I'm totally cool with that. But you know, I think if you could take a few parts and put them together, we'd be in business. But the heifer that wins for me wins at the ground. And I think as you start in terms of just foot shape, angulation of skeleton. I think she's just more agile, more athletic in the way that she gets out and reaches. I think still just a good moderate, bold-bodied one that in terms of just breed cow fundamentals, I think excels. And so I think when you set the cattle in motion, we lapped them twice. I think she stayed a little more organized in her lower joint work and just has a little more athleticism to her step. I love this heifer at the stand. I like the fact that she's maybe a touch fresher in her condition, but yet still reads to have that right kind of maternal shape to her body. She's really extended and attractive as you read her head of her shoulder as well. You know, all those things fit together really well when she's in park, and then put her in gear and she just maybe struggles just a little bit. I like to lay that shoulder in just a little differently. Her rear feet get just a little tight, maybe comes up a nickel short there in her step, but standing still, that's the heifer you like, and I think she puts together some extra mass and still stays very fresh. But good pair of heifers nonetheless. Congratulations to both of those exhibitors.
First place in Class 8, our April Junior Yearling Heifers went to entry 2485, exhibited by Styles Patton. Second place went to entry 5762, exhibited by Miranda Rafel. Coming into the ring next will be Class 9, our March Junior Yearling Heifers. We have entry 6203, exhibited by Garrett Green, entry 6195, exhibited by Chance Green, and entry 6175, exhibited by Grace Takancic.
Another good trio of heifers here in the junior yearling division, and I think there's some trade-offs and a little give and take amongst the top two here. A little bit different kinds of cattle, and that's okay, but I'm going to stay committed to it. And you'll hear me talk about this quite a bit today. I think this heifer up front wins at the ground. And I think just again, in terms of foot size, ruggedness to her structure, I think this heifer's just a little more right in how she sets her hind leg down. And she's a big girl. She's got a little size to her, and I wish she had just a little more forerib and a little more flank like what we see in our second place heifer. But I think your angulation and I think that extra looseness of her structure should equate to a couple more years there in terms of longevity from just a function standpoint. Now, I do think that it's close because this heifer in second, I probably prefer her body shape, and I like her doability and that low input look that she gives you. Got a great start to her udder too. We don't talk about that enough, and having some udder quality I think is really, really good. She's got a little extra condition, and it's maybe pushing her shoulder out just a little bit and maybe amplify some of those issues from a structure perspective. Like to just lay her shoulder in, just give her a different set and shape there to her hog, but a good, moderate, easy doing one that's got a nice start to her udder, and I think will be really good there in production. One that's again moderate and sensible in her size. She's probably an upgrade from the heifer that's directly in front of them in terms of just hind leg structure, but at the same time this heifer wants to flatten just a little bit, both in terms of her center and upper rib shape. Probably just not the cow power and mass that we see in those two in front of her, but darn sure a good trio of heifers. Congratulations to these three individuals. Really nice class of heifers.
First place in our class of March Junior Yearling Heifers went to entry 6195, exhibited by Chance Green. Second place went to entry 6175, exhibited by Grace Takancic. And third place went to entry 6203, exhibited by Garrett Green. Coming into the ring next will be Class 10, our early Junior Yearling Heifers. We have entry 6085, exhibited by Nicole Myers.
Just a single entry here. Nice February heifer. Love her performance and the extra growth and the extra stretch that she brings to the table. Again, fundamentally speaking, plenty sound enough and functional in the use of her joint work. So bring her back out here in just a moment to compare. But young lady's done a great job. Nice heifer here. Congratulations on your class winner.
First place in our class of early Junior Yearling Heifers went to Nicole Myers, entry 6085. We'll be asking Nicole to stick around as we bring back in the first and seconds from our previous two classes. From Class 8, our April Junior Yearling Heifers. In first place, we have Styles Patton with entry 2485. Our second place for that class was entry 5762, exhibited by Miranda Rayfield. From Class 9, we have our first place exhibited by Chance Green as entry 6195. And our second place for that class was entry 6175, exhibited by Grace Takancic. They'll be coming back into the ring to compete for the Junior Heifer Champion and Reserve. Class 13, you need to be ringside. Early senior yearling heifers, entry 5608, shown by Sean LaFeist. You need to be ringside. Class 13, Sean LaFeist, entry 5608, you need to be ringside.
Well, another really good division. We'll wrap this up and then go right into our selection of our champion Angus female. But certainly ones that you get to this time of year and it's kind of hard to manage some of these junior yearlings and getting them bred up on time and keeping them fresh. And these kids have done a great job of that. So, this heifer that wins our first class, just fundamentally right. Great footed, great structured, good bodied, maternal in her kind. And that's what I like about that female. She doesn't, maybe just have just the most exotic pieces, but from just an Angus breeder's perspective and just her function, I think represents what, kind of our breed has built their reputation around. And then, this heifer in our second position, just an extra performance, still another nice footed, really sound structured female. I'd like to see her have just a shot more heart, a little more fill there to her rib cage, but darn sure one that has some good. And then we get our third class winner out here, the single entry, all the growth and the performance you want, and I still think that's important in this industry. Still sound enough on her feet and legs, just a good quality heifer there. A couple of seconds over there that are really, really good. To me, this division makes complete sense. I think there's a pair of heifers that were very close in terms of class. They're different in their kind, but they represent quality. We're going to keep the two together out of class 1, so if you give this young man a nice hand, congratulations. The young lady that was second to him in that class will be your reserve.
Our junior heifer champion is entry 2485, exhibited by Styles Patton. Our reserve is entry 5762, exhibited by Miranda Rathel. Coming into the ring next will be class 13, our early senior yearling heifers with entry 5608, exhibited by Sean LaFeist. I also need all of my age division champions to make your way ringside. You will be going in shortly for the champion Angus heifer drive. From our junior heifer calf division, we need entry 2486, exhibited by Styles Patton. We also need our reserve, entry 6446, exhibited by Braden Wheeler. From our senior heifer calf division, we need entry 6037, exhibited by Austin Bisselmeyer. And our reserve, entry 6204, exhibited by Garrett Green. From our intermediate heifer calf champion, we need entry 6177, exhibited by Grace DeConsick. And we also need our just named junior heifer calf champion and reserve to stay by the ring. Styles Patton and Miranda Rathel stay by the ring.
Well, just one entry here to represent the cow-calf division, but darn sure another really good one. And we always say it that they could get around some or could withstand some competition, but this is a very, very nice pair of cattle. This cow putting this bull calf there inside, still staying in the right kind of condition with some extra fleshing ability. She can maybe be refined, I guess, in terms of her teeth structure, but again, with this young calf here inside, it's not really seeming to affect it. Great structured, lots of body mass to her as well. Just an excellent pair of cattle there. I think really good representative of our cow-calf division. Congratulations.
Our champion cow-calf is entry 5608, exhibited by Sean LaFeist. We will be bringing back in our heifer champions to compete for our champion of our Angus breed.
It'll win it. Money for it.
I stood up too, just for that reason.
We're selecting champion Angus right now. You guys
In the ring
can't-
right now
you guys
is our
can't do
champion
this
Angus
if you
Drive.
have-
Our champion Angus Junior Heifer will be receiving a banner sponsored by Three Rivers Ag Investments, and our reserve champion Angus Heifer will be receiving a banner sponsored by the Arizona National Livestock Show.
of a really, really good show. And you know, every time you go, you get asked to go sort a show, and you go out there in a different part of the country from where you're at. It's always exciting. But then when you start off with the breed that you raise at home and that you're the most passionate about, it's pretty pumped. And then you get all these class winners and these division winners through this ring, and I'm telling you. I knew that the cattle were going to be good here, but this first Angus division I think has been exceptional. So I'm very, very excited for what's yet to come, because if this is just any indication of the cattle that are left to go through here for you kids and you breeders and all of you guys in the back getting them ready, I'm going to tell you I'm really, really excited. So it's been a great show, and nonetheless, you know, I think it's kind of gets us warmed up a little bit for what we're going to get through the rest of the day. But you know, I'm not going to go back and talk about all these cattle. I think it's pretty obvious what kind I like. I like my females to be maternal. I like them to be right in terms of their structure. I'm pretty tough on that, and you'll hear that from me quite a bit throughout the day. And I think all of these heifers, including the reserves, if you just step back and look at them, they've got function built into their framework. They're good body, they're maternal, and they look like females, and I think that's really important. So again, you kids have done a great job. This is just our first breed. We've got many yet to go throughout the day, but when the quality's this good as a judge, it gives you that unique opportunity to go out and use the one that hits you the hardest and the one that you really, really like. So I'm going to show you a pair of heifers that I really, really like. But before I do that, if you guys would at ringside, again, show your support for these kids. Give them a big round of applause, and I'll pick you a champion reserve. Great division, great way to start off the day.
Our champion Angus heifer is exhibited by Styles Patton and is entry 2486 from our junior heifer calf division. Styles will be receiving a banner sponsored by Three Rivers Ag Investments. We will bring our reserve heifer calf champion to come in to compete for reserve. Our reserve Angus heifer is entry 6446, exhibited by Braden Wheeler from our junior heifer calf division. Braden will be receiving a banner sponsored by the Arizona National Livestock Show. for our Brangus Show Junior Heifer Calves, entry 7276, exhibited by Richard Pavis. You need to be making your way ringside and checking with our attendant. Entry 7276, Richard Pavis, ringside.
As we jump into this Brangus division, we've got a nice pair of young calves to start off this show. And they're actually probably more similar. I think both of these cattle are built the same in regards to their structure and the way they're put together. And the heifer that wins this class, I think just has a little more to her. I think her rib is a little bolder as you get right on top of her, sets down a little stouter kind of foot, just more rugged in terms of her bone work as well. So good pair of functional cattle. The one that wins probably just has a little bit more. Heifer in second, like we said, don't question her longevity and her function and the right kind of structure, but this comparative sense, I think she's just a little flatter, just a little frailer, but I think a great pair of cattle here to start off this show. Nice class. Congratulations.
First place in our first class of our Brangus Heifer Show went to entry 7278, exhibited by Connor Keel. Second place went to entry 7275, exhibited by Dakota Heath. Coming into the ring next will be Class 2 Junior Heifer Calves. Calved in February of 2018, we have entry 7276, exhibited by Richard Pavis. We need Class 4 of our Brangus Show, late senior heifer calves, entry 7274, Jake Mason, entry 7273, Stephanie Keel, entry 7288, Houston Clump, and entry 7271, Tana Webster. You need to be making your way ringside. Again, Jake Mason, Stephanie Keel, Houston Clump, and Tana Webster. You need to be making your way ringside with your Brangus heifers. Check in with the ringside attendant.
Got just one entry in here. We'll keep the show rolling, but a good February female. Really neat to look at. You study her ahead of her shoulder, just super refined and feminine. Lots of length and extension to her. So I think this is a nice female that's got a quality look to her. We'll bring her back out here in a little while, get a dig a little deeper look on her. But good heifer. Go get that blue ribbon. We'll see you back here in just a moment. Congratulations.
First place in our second class of Brangus heifers went to entry 7276, exhibited by Richard Pavis. We'll be bringing Richard back in along with the first and second from our previous class, Connor Keel with entry 7278 and Dakota Heath with entry 7275 to compete for our junior heifer calf champion.
as these heifers come around and get set up here for this final look. A good trio, a couple class winners and a respective second. I think all three of these cattle are built right, but I think that you could also say that there's some differences. One of them's a little cowier, one's maybe a little sharper, but maybe not quite as bold and powerful. So there's some give and take in here. But I think what's nice is that you don't have to worry about function in any of these cattle. They're built right, they're angular and correct in how they're made. So I think it makes sense, and from a judge's perspective, to just kind of side with what you want to do. And so I'm going to use the one that I think's got just a little more cow power and a little bit more ruggedness built into her. That'll be the heifer out of our first, that's up in the lead right now. She'll be your champion, and we will follow that one with the one that was second in that class. Let's give all these young people a nice hand. Congratulations, another good division of Brangus females.
Our champion junior heifer calf in our Brangus show went to entry 7278, exhibited by Connor Keel. Our reserve went to entry 7275, exhibited by Dakota Key. Coming into the ring next will be class 4, our late senior heifer calves, with entry 7274, exhibited by Jake Mason. Entry 7273, exhibited by Stephanie Keel. Entry 7288, exhibited by Houston Clump. And entry 7271, exhibited by Tana Webster. At this time, we need class 5 of our Brangus show to be making their way to the ring. You need to be ringside. Your class is on deck. Entry 6182, Mason Brown. Entry 7272, Diego Aguilera. You need to be making your way ringside. Check in with the ringside attendant. Again, class 5 entries to ringside.
definitely one of the more challenging classes that I've had to put together. We've got 4 heifers that I think just represent a lot of different kinds. So there's probably more than one right answer for this class, and I'll just describe what I see. And, you know, I think that there's a pair of heifers here on top that have some trade-offs, but I'm going to stick and stay committed to structure. And I think this heifer that wins is probably the most appropriate, just the angulation of her structure. She's got a little bit more slope there to her shoulder than the one in second, and probably just sets down on a little more rugged kind of a foot shape and bone structure. That she's not just maybe the neatest one to look at, but she's modern. She's got the right kind of body shape and the right kind of structure to give you a few more years there in production. Wouldn't mind switching it. I think this heifer here in second, you can make a case for her having as much look as any of them. She's the best in terms of the organization of her top line and spine. She's a heifer that, as you read her at the ground, a little smaller footed. When you get her in motion, she's just a little upright off both ends. I'd like to just change that about her, but if you want to say she's the best looking one, wouldn't argue much with you. I just thought there was a few flaws where you could also argue her in second. 1 and third, I think, has as much just performance and just growth, and she's got a really big foot underneath of her as well. For me, relative to her size, I just wish she had a little more shape there to her heart and her forehead. A little concerned with that as you try to project her on out into production with her maintenance costs, but she's a heifer that's got some performance. It's still important. She's one that just like to just strengthen her there in her forehead and just give her a little neater kind of look there from the side. Heifer that rounds out our classes, got some extra stoutness to her structure, but with that, I think she's the most restricted as you just get her in motion. She tightens up, but stepping behind her, she's the flattest in her hip as well. So good class, 4 nice heifers. They're all a little bit different. Those kids have done a nice job. Congratulations.
First place in our Class 4 of our Durangus Heifer Show went to Tana Webster with entry 7271. Second place went to Jake Mason with entry 7274. Third place went to entry 7288, Houston Clump. And fourth place went to entry 7273, exhibited by Stephanie Keel. Coming into the ring next will be Class 5, our early senior heifer calves. We have entry 6182, shown by Mason Brown, and entry 7272, exhibited by Diego Aguilera. We will ask Tana and Jake to stay ringside to compete for our senior heifer calf champion drive that will take place after this class.
Another nice pair of falls here. I'm going to leave them just as they stand and how they came in. This young man's heifer up front is going to be first. The young man in the back will be second. But I think a heifer that wins, to me, she's got just a little bit more of a rugged kind of cow feature to her. I think she's just a little stouter at the ground. She's got a little bolder kind of turn and softness to her rib. Maybe not as neat jet level in some spots, but I think that's plenty good enough from just a function standpoint. why she ends up winning this class. This heifer in second probably has maybe a little more attractive set to her hip and her hind leg. I like where her pin bones are set up in her. With that though, she gets just a little fragile in terms of her head and her construction. Like to intensify that one's bone work and maybe just drop her down into her flank and help that balance out just a shot for her lower third. But a good pair of heifers nonetheless. You guys have done a nice job with these two fall females. Congratulations.
First place in Class 5 of our Durangus Heifer Show went to entry 6182, exhibited by Mason Brown. Second place went to entry 7272, exhibited by Diego Aguilera. We'll be asking Mason to stick around ringside as we bring back in our first and second from our previous class, Tana Webster in first and Jake Mason in second, to compete for our senior heifer calf champion.
as the young folks go ahead and bring this set of cattle around here and get them set up for you in this division drive. Again, another nice set of females. There's some variation amongst just different kinds and whatnot out here, but I think as a whole we've got a good group. And I think there's a pair of them that I like pretty well, and I liked them in class, and I thought that maybe they were a little bit different, but represented some quality pieces, and I kind of stuck with my structural gut and used that kind of broodier, little Sounders-footed one to win this class, and we're going to stay consistent with that. This young man right here that's spinning will be our champion, and the one that was second to him in that class will be a reserve. You guys would give all these kids a nice round of applause. Really nice set of Brangus females in this division.
Our senior heifer calf champion is entry 6182, exhibited by Mason Brown. Our reserve heifer calf, senior heifer calf champion is entry 7272, exhibited by Diego Aguilera. We'll be asking them to go ringside as we bring back in our age divisions to compete for our champion Brangus heifer. From our junior heifer calf division, we have entry 7278, Connor Keel is our champion, and entry 7275, exhibited by Dakota Heap, is our reserve. Coming into the ring now will be our champion drive for our Brangus Junior Heifer Show. We have our champion junior heifer calf, entry 7278, exhibited by Connor Keel. Our champion senior heifer calf, entry 6182, exhibited by Mason Brown. Our reserve junior heifer calf, exhibits entry 7275, exhibited by Dakota Heap. And our reserve senior heifer calf, entry 7272, exhibited by Diego Aguilera. Our champion Brangus Junior Heifer will be receiving a banner sponsored by Dorothy Webb. And our reserve champion Brangus Junior Heifer will be receiving a banner also sponsored by Dorothy Webb.
Maybe not as many numbers in our Brangus show, but I think this top end has been good. So again, I know we've got a lot of cattle to sort through. I will keep my comments here fairly brief, but again, these kids have put in a lot of work and a lot of effort towards their project. So if you guys would have ringside, help us congratulate these kids. Give them a nice hand, give them a round of applause, and congratulate their efforts. I've seen these cattle enough back-to-back in some of these classes and divisions, and I have a pretty good idea what I'm going to do. But again, great set of kids, great set of cattle. I'm going to use this heifer that wins our first division to be our champion. The second, or reserve to her, will be your reserve. Congratulations. Those are two nice heifers that I think fit together very well. Congratulations.
champion Brangus heifer today was entry 7278, exhibited by Connor Keel. Our reserve was entry 7275, exhibited by Dakota Heath. Coming into the ring next will be Class 1 of our Hereford show. You'll have entry 6022, exhibited by Charlie Lemos, and entry 6030, exhibited by Caitlin Duress.
Go ahead and pull the gate.
Doors, my apology, Caitlin.
Go ahead and pull the gate.
I'd like to ask Class 1.1 of our Hereford show to make your way ringside and check in with the ringside attendant. Entry 6153, Justin Armstrong. Entry 5858, Cameron Oakes. Entry 6146, Nancy Webb. And entry 6031, Caitlin Doors. Make your way ringside for Class 1.1. Your class is on deck. Make sure to check in with the ringside attendant.
Our first class of Hereford heifers in here, a nice pair of May babies in here. These kids are doing a great job. And I'm going to leave them just as they stand. This young man up front will be our class winner. Young lady behind him will be second. Both of these heifers, I think, have a lot of good to them. I think both of them are pretty high quality, good presented kind of cattle that have some attractive pieces that can kind of catch your eye right off the bat. But with that said, I think it's pretty obvious that this one that wins is just quite a bit more of her in terms of rib shape and substance and volume. So I think it's a nice place to start. That young man's doing a great job. Got some good help there. Good work, buddy. We'll get you back out here in just a minute. Second place heifer's no slouch. Like I said, that's a good looking one. But probably I think her biggest downfall is she's a little green yet. So got a green light in front of you. Don't give up on that effort, because that kind of body shape, that kind of look, I think sets you up for success on down the road. So good pair of cattle. Those two kids are really working hard and doing a great job. It's a great way to start off the Hereford show. Congratulations.
First place in Class 1 of our Hereford Junior Breeding Show went to Charlie Lemos with entry 6022. Second place went to Caitlin Doors with entry 6030. Coming into the ring next will be Class 1.1. We will have Justin Armstrong with entry 6153, Cameron Oakes with entry 5858, Kenzie Paquette with entry 6146, and Caitlin Doors with entry 6031.
really nice class here. I think we've got a really nice pair of heifers that surface it. You know, they're a little bit different. So those of you at ringside, if you want to switch them, I wouldn't argue much with you. The things that I like about this one that wins, to me, she's a little coward. Just as you read her, just her rib shape and the turn she has to the center part of her body. I think she's just a little more maternal there. Drops back a little softer there to her flank. And, you know, even though she's a little bit plainer in terms of her head and her neck, I'm okay with that. She looks like a cow, looks like a production female. I think where she does have an advantage too is in structure. I think hip and hind leg assembly are a little more correct. She's a little cleaner there in her hock joint, and the way that she flexes and sets down to the ground, I think complements that brood cow kind of look very, very nicely. So done a great job with that heifer as well. Nice female, lots of cow power, and that one that leads off. If you want a little sleeker looking one, I think this red necked heifer in second's probably the ticket you'd punch. And that heifer is so neat up front. I love her neck set, how it comes out of the top of her shoulder. Yet she's one that's still blessed with, I think, plenty of hip and plenty of bone when you read underneath of all of her very nice, highly presented kind of look. Now, I guess these are nitpicky things, and I think you have to do that when the quality on top is really good. She's maybe not quite as just soft and maternal in her look. She's a little edgy for me, and get her in motion. I think she can tangle and tighten just ever so slightly there in her honk and her pastern. I'd like to soften her up just in terms of her body shape as well, but if you like them really cool and really neat looking, I think you could definitely argue and build a case to start with that one. Good job, young lady. Again, that's a nice heifer. This heifer in third, I think, has a lot of good. This one at the ground, I think, probably rivals any of them. This is a great footed, sound structured, long-bodied, extended one. The problem is that she ran into two pretty tough customers because relative to her frame, not the same kind of body mass, not the same shape to her forehead. Needs to have more pin width, it needs to have more natural dimension throughout, but the basics are there. That one's foot shape and that one's structural quality, I think, are built for the long haul. When we round out our class again with one that I think has some good performance to her. Again, certainly has enough to her when you step right in behind the cattle, but you know, this effort to me is the most off-balanced in terms of the top and bottom line. Need to change her hip design, like to soften that body shape up a little bit as well. But a great set of 4 heifers. Kids are doing a great job as well. Again, congratulations on an outstanding class.
First place in Class 1.1 of our Hereford Junior Breeding Heifer Show went to Caitlin Doors with entry 6031. Second place, Cameron Oakes with entry 5858. Third place to Justin Armstrong with entry 6153. And fourth place to Kenzie Bequette with entry 6146. Coming into the ring next will be Class 2 Junior Heifer Calves with entry 2713, exhibited by Charlie Spindle.
Rolling on a good February heifer, good pigment, really good body shape, and I think all the fundamentals are right. Nice footed, stout and powerful enough, just a good functional kind of female. I think could have got around some. Go get that blue ribbon. We'll break this heifer down a little further when we get her next to those other class winners. But again, congratulations.
First place in Class 2 of our Hereford Junior Heifer Calf of our Hereford Junior Show went to Charlie Spindle with entry 2713. Coming into the ring next will be Class 3 Junior Heifer Calves. We have Charlie Spindle with entry 4923 and Madison Fisher with entry 7702.
a mix-up here, so this one becomes a single entry, but I think a good female. Good body turn and really soft, kind of cow-like look to her center rib, but still has a nice look up front. So again, we'll break her down just a little further when we get some other ones out here, but really, really nice female here to represent this class.
First place in Class 3 of our Junior Heifer Hereford show went to Charlie with Spindle with entry 4923. Madison Fisher will be reclassed into Class 4 and incomplete for our Senior Heifer Calf champion. For right now, we will be bringing in the first and seconds from our previous classes to compete for our Junior Heifer Calf champion. From Class 1, we have Charlie Lemnos with entry 6022 in first, and Caitlin Doors with entry 6030 in second. From Class 1.1, we have Caitlin Doors with entry 6031 in first, and in second we have Cameron Oakes with entry 5858. From Class 2, we have Charlie Spindle with entry 2713. And from Class 3, we have Charlie Spindle with entry 4923.
Trust me.
Another nice division here. We've got a few more numbers, and we've got a few of those classes when you get these winners back out here. I think they fit together fairly nicely. Young man's heifer that wins our first class. Lots of good to that one. She's bold and has some power, but still has some neat look to her. You know, she maybe needs to settle in just a little bit, and that'll come with some extra experience with this heifer. I'd like to set her foot down just a little softer, but by no means is she a structural concern. Just a good heifer there to lead off. This heifer in the second spot, she kind of grows on me a little bit, and you know, I'll be the first to tell you, I'm fully aware that she's not the neatest looking one in here, but I think from just the sheer standpoint of function and structural quality, body shape, she just reads very, very maternal. I think that when you ask the cattle to get out and lead, she's probably as accurate and as flexible in her lower joints as any of them. Like I said, maybe not just as exciting as some of the other ones out there, but there is nothing wrong with cattle that are problem-free in their kind and problem-free in their functional pieces. So good heifer there. I like that heifer quite a bit. A big-bodied, bold kind of heifer here that comes in our third spot. Like we said, we liked her pigment, we like the basics that she brings to the table. Maybe comes together just a little bit rounder in how she's made out to her hip, and maybe, again, like the one in front of her, isn't as neat to look at, but again, a really good functional female. I like some parts of her. We get into our last class winner, really puts together some unique things, and that one I think for her body mass, her upper rib shape, and the extra power she punches behind, she's really neat as you read her head of her shoulders. So those are genetic pieces that are hard to put together, but I do think that heifer probably could be altered structurally. She's a little awkward in the shape of her rear foot. I'd like to square her up at the ground and just loosen her there, but the pieces that she does put together are challenging to do, and so there's some real good built in that heifer as well. Good respective seconds over there. I think there's another heifer over there that's very much in contention for a piece of this division. But again, if you guys would on ringside, please help me congratulate these kids. Give them a nice round of applause as I select your champion reserve.
Our champion junior heifer calf is entry 6031, exhibited by Caitlin Doors. We'll be bringing in entry 5858, exhibited by Cameron Oaks, to compete for reserve. Our reserve junior heifer calf champion went to entry 5858 from Cameron Oaks. Coming into the ring next will be our class 4 that was reclassed from class 3, Madison Fisher, with entry 7702. Also coming in will be class 5, entry 5851, exhibited by Kylan Oaks, and we will just run them together to compete for the senior heifer calf champion division. entry 6141, and Josh Albrecht with entry 7604 to make your way to ringside and check in with the attendant. Again, Kagan Bequette with entry 6141 and Josh Albrecht with entry 7604. You need to be ringside and check in with the attendant. We also need William Spindle ringside with entry 2705. William Spindle ringside, your class is on deck.
And then Amber. After, is anybody home?
We're only two heifers in this division as well, so we're going to just go ahead and talk about them real quick and then just move on into our next class and keep this show rolling. Good pair of heifers, and I think it's nice from my perspective to say that both of these heifers are plenty good enough at the ground in terms of foot shape and really just the angulation of their skeleton. And so it just kind of gives you that chance to just use the one you like. And there's a heifer out here that I think is very fresh and very attractive and probably honestly about the right kind of shape and composition relative to her age, and I appreciate that. I think that helps her with giving her an extra shot of gas left in the tank, and she's just a good heifer that's good-headed, beautiful in terms of her feature, and still looks like a lady. That's this young lady's heifer up front. She'll be our champion. I think that heifer in the back is real good as well, probably a little softer in her body shape, maybe just a little bit plainer in terms of how her neck comes up out of her shoulder, maybe not as neat up front, but that's a great pair of cattle. Really have a lot of quality to them. Congratulations to both of these two young ladies.
Our senior heifer calf champion went to entry 7702, exhibited by Madison Fisher. Coming into the ring next will be our two classes that we are combining to pick our intermediate heifer champion. We have William Spindle with entry 2705 and Kagan Bequette with entry 6141. We would also like to remind all our exhibitors to download the Arizona National Livestock Show app, and that way they can receive push notifications on when they should make their way ringside and when their class is in the ring. For those of you who are looking for a little something to eat, the Hacienda Bar and Grill is now open, so if you would like anything to eat or drink, it is available. After our Hereford show, we will be taking a short 5-minute breaks, and then we will be rolling into our Red Angus division.
we get into our next division here, these are two single entries, so we run them together out here, and a good pair of cattle nonetheless. But this heifer that wins this first class up front, just solid. I think in terms of just basics, she's got all of her bases covered in terms of joint and foot quality, the right kind of size and the right kind of body shape and doability to her. Just a good solid heifer that I think fits a variety of production schemes. I like that one quite a bit. And then we've got one that's got maybe a shot more stretch and a little more extension to her. Like that she's showing signs of udder, maybe like to clean those teats up just a little bit. And comparatively, she's just maybe a little plainer both in her look and her rib shape, but good heifer nonetheless. That horned heifer has been very well taken care of by that young lady. So good pair of heifers here. To me, it makes the most sense to use young man's heifer up front for our champion. Young lady in her second spot will be reserved. Congratulations. Let's give both these kids a nice hand.
Our intermediate heifer champion was entry 2705, exhibited by William Spindle. Our reserve intermediate heifer was entry 6141, exhibited by Kagan Bequet. Coming into the ring next will be class 9 of our Hereford show, which will be Josh Albrecht with entry 7604. I need all of my age division champions to be making their way ringside to compete for our Grand Hereford heifer. From our junior heifer calf division, we need entry 6031, Caitlin Doors. Our reserve for that division is entry 5858, Cameron Oaks. From our senior heifer calf division, we need entry 7702, Madison Fisher. Our reserve for that division is entry 5851, Kylan Oaks. From our intermediate heifer division, we need 2705, William Spindle as our champion. And our reserve is entry 6141, shown by Kagan Bequet.
Just a single entry again to wrap up this final division, but kind of just echoing the same comments. Just a very fundamentally right, basic kind of female that's got some performance, but still the right kind of body and softness and maternal quality about her look and her structure. She's got a really nice start to her udder as well. It's dropping square and fairly refined. So again, all the bases are covered. That's a fundamentally good heifer. We'll get a better look at her in just a second when she competes for our grand drive. Congratulations.
First place in class 9 and our junior heifer champion went to entry 7604, exhibited by Josh Albrecht. We'll be having Josh come back in with the rest of our age champions. Coming into the ring is the final drive for our Hereford heifer division. We have our junior heifer calf champion, entry 6031, exhibited by Caitlin Doors. Our reserve for that division was entry 5858, exhibited by Cameron Oaks. From our senior heifer calf division, we have entry 7702, shown by Madeline Fisher. And our reserve for that division was entry 5851, shown by Kylan Oaks. From our intermediate heifer division, our champion was entry 2705, shown by William Spindle. And our reserve is entry 6141, shown by Kagan Bequet. And then we have our junior heifer champion, entry 7604, shown by Josh Albrecht. Our champion junior Hereford heifer will be receiving a banner sponsored by Buckman Springs Cattle. And our reserve Hereford junior heifer will be receiving a banner sponsored by the Arizona National Livestock Show. For any prizes that you hear me announce is sponsored by the Arizona National Livestock Show, that means that prize is available for sponsorship. So if you would like to get your name or a friend's name or perhaps your company's name out there, you can sponsor this award and your name will be announced during the show. again, following this final drive, we will be taking a
Was that the
short
little girl?
5-minute break, and then we will begin with our red Angus division.
Oh.
So I had grabbed Katie this morning. That's who she thought it was too.
Oh, okay. It was just, that's the one I thought it was, and I said she would be able to tell us.
Thank you.
Uh-huh. For what? Staging on. They can't get in the other trailer. They can't get in the other one. Staging on, and then they can get in the input tonight. Do you remind we're gonna take a quick break?
Again, we will be taking a short break after our Hereford division, and then we will begin with our red Angus after our break.
Nice set of Hereford cattle that we've had the chance to work with today, and maybe not the numbers that we'll see in some of the other divisions, but certainly I think the top end here represents exactly what we had in our Angus and Brangus shows. Just good quality cattle that, again, these kids have done an excellent job and committed lots of time to making them look like this. So my hat's off to all of you. And again, we've got a lot of cattle to sort through, so I'm not going to sit there break them down. I've rambled on long enough about these cattle, but again, it's refreshing that when they're this good, you just get the chance to go out and use the ones that hit you the hardest. And I've got my mind made up. There's two heifers that suit me pretty well, and I'll be honest with you, they're a little bit different, and that's okay with me. I do think the good ones come in different shapes and sizes, and as long as you can find the value in what they represent, it's okay for them to not be cookie cutter for Grand and Reserve. So congratulations again to all of these exhibitors. Let's give all these kids a nice hand. I'll get you a champion reserve in this breed.
Our champion junior Hereford heifer went to entry 7702, exhibited by Madison Fisher. We'll be bringing in the reserve from that division, entry 5851, shown by Kylan Oaks.
You guys can be excused.
Yeah.
Our reserve champion Hereford heifer went to entry 6031, exhibited by Caitlin Doors. We'll be taking a short break here before we begin with our red Angus division. For those of you who are interested in the Sullivan Supply Fitting Contest, late entries are acceptable, and they will be accepted until 3 o'clock. You may sign up at the Guest Services Building.